A monumental shift is happening towards the end of March. Saturn, the planet of karma and material manifestation, is changing signs. For the first time in 30 years almost, it is moving to its most favorite sign in Aquarius, where it can do the best according to ancient astrology. And what does it mean for you personally? It means that the end of a serious problems in your life. For many of you, towards the end of March and April, you'll see the end of certain travels, of certain situations that were too complicated, that were too restraining, or that were too limiting in some way. The end of certain responsibilities, the completion of certain responsibilities and the results of them, but also moving into a totally new set of priorities and important lessons that you have to learn. The start of a new bunch of karmic lessons with Saturn moving in Aquarius, which will actually give very good results by the end of this period. It's going to take about 2.5 years for you to see the results. It's almost like while Saturn was in Capricorn, you were building the foundations, you were building the structure of something, you were disciplining yourself. And when it moves to Aquarius, you're going to now build the infrastructure, you're going to build the connections and the networking to achieve that goal or that that great work. So there will be a refocusing, a change of directions for all of you gradually from the end of March, from one set of priorities and difficulties to solve and lessons to master to another set of priorities and lessons to master, which will end up in the fulfillment of a great work, in the achievement of a great work for you. So exciting times, guys. March also brings Mercury going direct. So great news, 2 planets in their own signs. So listen what's going to happen for each of the 12 signs. Plus, we are doing an apprenticeship, so our second apprenticeship, one-on-one with a tutor, with an amazing astrologer, the best astrologer I've ever seen, with the best predictive techniques, Victor. It's his second apprenticeship. We already had our first apprenticeship group, but you work one-on-one with the teacher, graduate, and out of that apprenticeship group, 4 people are going to be working with us, will be astrologers that you will see that they will do videos with us. So if you'd like to have a chance to work with us with Astroladder, or just to learn astrology as a master, come and join us for this apprenticeship. Very few people, he cannot take many because he works one-on-one with them, and it's 30 or 20% off till the 20th of March. Capricorn, March 2020. Wow, big month for you, Capricorn. So huge news is coming, but we'll get to it at the end. Let's start, and that's for Capricorn rising, moon, or sun. Let's start with March in specific. What can you expect? Just the influences that are active only on March. Well, the first one is that Mercury is becoming direct around the 10th of March. And if there were some complications in your 3rd and 2nd houses, they will start improving from the 2nd of March onwards. From the 10th of March. So if there was some temporary delays with finances, resources, money, or some unstable situation, or you had to change course or rebudget or revisit your finances with Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, which is your 2nd house, then when it starts moving forward from the 10th, these will be solved out. These will come back to normalcy, material, financial matters. Also, Mercury continues to move direct in your 3rd house, where it was retrograde in February. So if there was some complications with documents, with papers, with communication, with emails, with phones, with laptops, with any communication devices, social media, or any delays with administrative work, or email issues, or with travel, with cars, with transportation, with siblings and relatives, or co-workers, teammates, or even friends, if there was some stressful situation or extra efforts you have to put when Mercury keeps moving direct, starts moving direct, this will be solved. 3rd house is also administrative duties, business, commercial activities. So if you had to put extra efforts using your skills and intelligence and communication skills and working on some project of some sort while Mercury was retrograde there in the third house. Now when it starts moving direct around the middle of March, all the way to third house, it will come back to normal. So you'll start seeing the results of those extra efforts. Then Venus is becoming very strong. It's going to be the whole of March in its own sign in Taurus. So it's your fourth house. Sorry, Taurus is the fifth house for you, Capricorn. So wherever Venus goes, you can get a lot of joy from it, especially when Venus is strong like this time. And you're going to get a lot of joy from this fifth house, which is to have fun. Venus, according to ancient astrology, rejoices in the fifth house. So the planet of pleasures in the house of fun, what can I tell you? And very strong. You can enjoy a lot of sensual pleasures. You can enjoy a lot of even some good dates. If you're single, Venus transiting the fifth house in Taurus, well, it transits every year your fifth house, but it might be a trigger for some of you now to go on a few good dates. Even if you're married, it can kind of rekindle the romance between you, the affections between you and a loved one. Also, it can indicate you feeling a lot of good times from art. Venus rules art, anything beauty, social events as well, or good wine, good food, enjoyments, and having fun in such kind of entertainment. There's more entertainment for you. And if you're in any career that is performing, that is connected to you being in the center stage, in the public eye, you become very likable. You become very magnetic. Venus can make you magnetic and attractive there. And you can perform with more Venusian qualities, with more likability. And Venus in the fifth house is very creative and artistic as well. So it can take on some creative activities or hobbies or enjoyable activities that turn out very beautiful. For example, if you start making a quilting something, it can turn out so beautiful. Or if you start making a new website, which is creative activity, you have to think of the vision and everything. Wow, it will be aesthetically and visually very attractive. Or if you start making, if you're a dressmaker, whatever it is that you use your creativity and original ideas, it will become beautiful. Also, as I said, romantically, it's good. Also, children, it can make you more, and it can make you a bit more fertile as well. Or if you just go to a party, you'll notice you're feeling more confident or more relaxed, you enjoy yourself more. So such kind of activities are there. Your children, they can be sweeter, they can be more joyous moments with children and such. Then we have Mars being exalted in your sign most of March. So you're getting energized. And Mars transiting your sign indicates you become more initiative. You start taking action. And you know what the good news is, though? That Mars is forming a wealth yoga with Jupiter, a temporary one. But in March, some opportunity can come to you that brings more abundance, that brings more gains or earnings opportunities for you. And it comes personally to you and you undertake it because it's in your first house, Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. You have to take it on yourself. It can come to you, but you have to get active and go after it, and you will. And not only that, but you start feeling like you're coming out of a lethargy as well. Saturn is leaving your sign. I know Saturn rules you, so it gave you a lot of kind of new beginnings, especially over the last 2 years. Saturn has been in your sign for the last 2 years, but Saturn is never easy. Those new beginnings might have felt like giving birth to a baby, like you're in labor. Might have a lot of fears might have appeared, a lot of blockages that you had to learn to overcome and untangle patiently, a lot of testing of your willpower, a lot of need to deny yourself things, even restriction of mobility and restriction kind of being limited for a certain time, like babies being born through the birth canal and it's kind of stuck there. But it's even though Saturn is in its own sign, it has been painful transiting your sign, whether it's your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant. You know, it usually gives the person powerful new beginnings, new stage in life, but it's coupled with increased efforts, increased responsibilities and duties, pressures from within and outside, increase awareness of age and time passing by and the need to change your priorities and fix your priorities. But I think Saturn also made you come and helped you come into your own, help you become more and accept and embrace your Capricornness. And actually you could have been very successful in the past 2 years if you applied Saturn, if you follow the Saturn rules, which is follow the rules and regulations. Saturn's rules and regulations, do things by the law, by the book, and the tried and tested path. Perseverance and hard work pays off. Efficiency, order, organizing, serving, working hard, all of those things. If you did them right, you might be coming out with great rewards when Saturn is leaving your sign now. Saturn always makes a present when it's leave a sign. It will leave your sign twice. It will come back again in July and leave again in December. But maybe it will give you 2 gifts. And if it doesn't give you a gift now, it will come back from July to December. So you can make a little bit more extra effort at those new beginnings, those foundations that you're building, this new image, this new self, this new definition of yourself, and so you can maybe get the reward in December. But for some of you who have been working hard and who have been following the demands of Saturn, now it can be reward time. You can see the results of those efforts, and a lot of you are gonna feel like, but Saturn transiting your sign make you come into your own, make you be able to initiate things, but still you can feel like a lot of pressure is lifting off from you from the end of March when Saturn leaves your sign, because Saturn is heavy energy, and it can feel like you're like some teacher that was standing above you over your shoulder, just watching every step you do and smacking you with the ruler. Is like saying, okay, now I think you've matured, you've grown up enough, I can leave you a little bit behind, I can leave you alone to solve your problems. And so you can feel this relief. You can feel like lightening up of a burden, like the sky is opening up and releasing, and the blue sky is coming up, and that you're not under the scrutiny of a tough master like Saturn is. Or even your own attitude, because often Saturn transiting its own sign indicates that you're your own toughest critic. You've been your own toughest critic and your toughest master, really pushing yourself hard and demanding more from yourself and being dissatisfied with yourself for the past couple of years. And you can feel like you can start now appreciating yourself. You can start lifting off this more, you shall do this to yourself attitude. And you're going to start, and Jupiter only stays in your sign for the next 3 months, which means that confidence is going to rise for you. It's almost like it's a reward for you for the last 2 years, the hard work that you had to do, the challenges, the karmic endings and new beginnings that you had to experience, the maturation process that you had to go through. And God is saying in the universe, okay, a breather now. You're gonna get rewarded. Just Jupiter is in your sign. It's gonna see the result, that your efforts that you've done start, the seeds that you planted, they'll start poking through, and you're gonna start seeing those little plants, and you start seeing growth now, growth without restriction, growth without limitation, growth without worry for repercussions. So a lot of you are gonna start seeing April, March, April, May, June, much faster growth than was possible till now. Like you can spread your wings. And Mars with Jupiter creating this wealth yoga, as I said, will really energize you. This March, you're kicking into gear, into initiative, energy. So Capricorn, I think that's good news for you. Plus Saturn is moving into your second house. For 3 months, you'll get a glimpse of the new type of lessons you have to learn. And it will come back again from December, but it's going to come back with Jupiter. So it's not going to be like those first 3 months, because when it comes with Jupiter, actually you make an effort, but you see the results as well. So 2021, you'll see the results financially. But the first, now 2020, for 3 months, Saturn going into your second house, it will start to teach you how to master resources and finances. The ultimate goal of Saturn transiting the second house is to teach you to conserve, to preserve resources, to be more conscious of the limitations, that there are resources, that there is the limited resources on the planet or on life, and how to cleverly and strategically how to do the best out of them. The ultimate goal for some of you might to teach you not to work for money, but to make money work for you, to clever use and efficient use of resources. But depending how well natural intelligence you have about handling resources, whether you were taught that by your family, what examples you saw, maybe your mom would get a salary and go and spend it all on presents, or maybe, depends, whatever you were taught. For some of you, can indicate restriction financially. It comes from outside, so you can learn to look at it differently, to restructure your attitude towards resources and finances, to become more responsible in that respect. And by 2023, when Saturn comes out of your second house, I foresee that you'll have way more stable finances and resources that you can rely on much longer time, because Saturn wants to create longevity rather than living income to income, salary to salary. And initially, to teach you those lessons, it can start by restricting access to resources and to money, or limiting it, so you can think of more efficient ways of how to create something in materially stably, so it can so you don't so you're not perpetually on that hamster wheel, like, oh, I get a job and I start working and I spend it by the end of the month. So it wants to create more stability for you materially and to make you more responsible, so it can become a fantastic time for many of you to take courses, because Saturn will be in Aquarius, a sign of knowledge. And it's kind of systemized, organized knowledge. So to take some classes, to take some of money management, of asset procuring. What's the difference between asset and liability? Liability is something, for example, buying a car or a house, it's a liability, because it just creates expenses, the house that you live in. Asset is if you buy a car and you rent it, if you buy a house and you rent it, or if you buy investment stocks and they make you 5-10% or 10%, so you live off of those 10%. So what is asset and liability? So kind of maturing and learning more serious, more intelligent approaches to finances. For some of you, can have extremely managing and organizing and effect on your resources and finances, to such an extent that by even 2021, you can really increase your resources a lot more, with Jupiter also there, because you're seeing the results as well. You're not just making the efforts of Saturn, but you're seeing the results. But you will gradually, from the end of March, start thinking about those topics. Some of you might need to limit themselves intentionally because they're trying to save for something, because they're trying to invest in property or in home or in some business idea. So they have to tighten up their belt. And to be honest, I think the results will be really good with Saturn in Aquarius, because it's its own sign. It will bring you the intelligent information how to do it, unless you're like really bad with money. Generally, then it can teach you the lessons in a tough way. But if you're willing to learn and to apply some rules and regulations and harder and cleverer work there, fantastic results, Like you can end up with some long-term investments that can substitute as pension, or that are that can be like a passive income for you, a long-term investment that pays off, it's like I cannot tell you specifically, but just think about it, the possibilities. I don't want you to focus on the negativity, that it might be restricted financial time with worries and stuff like that. Because the ultimate goal, I told you, to make money work for you rather than you working for money. control over them, understanding them, mastering money, mastering resources, and mastering your food, what you put in your body, mastering substances. A lot of you might start feeling like restricting food in some way, or removing certain food groups, dairy or meat or whatever it is, or starting a keto, whatever. Others might be limited because, in more difficult cases, there can be a restriction on your foods because of allergies and such type of things. But that's in extreme rare cases as well. It can also be conscious limitation of sensual pleasures, or it can be learning to master sensual pleasures. For the more advanced, for the more spiritually advanced, that's having control over your sensual pleasures. Well, whether you stuff 5 cookies in your mouth or chocolate, or whether you drink 10 glasses of wine, or you learn to limit with 1 glass of wine. Whether you buy 10 dresses or just 1 dress that is quality, or whether you can, like some of you with Saturn in the 2nd house, might want just to really clean up your wardrobe, your possessions, your valuables, and leave just things of quality. Prioritize your possessions. That's what Saturn is. But it can be accompanied, for some of you, fears of financial limitations, fears of losing something. But ultimately, Saturn wants to separate you with just the things that you're carrying with you that are a burden, material, financial, that are just kind of more like the things that are outdated. You don't need them. How many clothes, how many possessions, furniture, and things do you need that need to be cleared off? So gradually over the next 2 years, Saturn will teach you to streamline, to just keep the things that are most priority materially around you, and to surround yourself with longer lasting things. Okay, so enough of that. If you want to find out more about that 2020, you can check out my 2020 video horoscopes, Capricorn, which is almost 2 hours for Capricorn, because it's one of the most intense and happening years for the cardinal signs, and you're one of the cardinal signs. I speak about the whole year there. It's only $9, and it's available just 1 more month. I love you, and enjoy March.